What's up, guys? Today we're going to be talking about Balisong knives, specifically my collection that I currently own. I have a lot of different pieces that I've collected over the years, so I hope you enjoy, and let's jump right into the video. All right, so this collection, I have two squids. I've got the Squiddy and the Squid Trainer V2.5. I've got my 51. I also have two Max Aces, the V1 of the Covenant, and then the Max Ace Pelican. And then I have a Jerry Home Prodigy, and my personal favorite, the JK Design Emissary number 8, which is a custom. Yeah, so let's look at them in a little more detail. All right, so let's take a little more individual look at each of these guys. So first up is the Squiddy. This is a PVC Balisong from Squid Industries. It's a fantastic little flipper, especially for the price. It's like 45 bucks. I love everything about it. It's simple, it's easy. It's like, you know, you don't have to care about it if you drop it. It's made of plastic. You didn't pay very much for it. But for the fact that it can be used for, like, you know, actually good flipping, it's impressive. It's a good little piece, and it's what I'd suggest for anybody for like their first budget trainer. Next up, we've got the Squid Industries V2.5 Squid Trainer. This thing's fantastic. It's actually one of my favorite knives to flip. This one is definitely more in the it's more into aerials and like technique related stuff. It's more good for stuff that's very, very specific in the way you're moving and stuff like that. So it's not necessarily a fast knife, but it is a very technical knife. It's very, very fat handles, stuff like that. And I mean, I'm gonna do a deeper review of all these guys eventually, but yeah. So that's what this guy is good for. That's why I like it. Next up is my custom 51. This guy I spent a lot of time putting together. It has all sorts of stuff on it, from the fly tie blade, and it's also got these fly tie custom carbon fiber inlay handles, which I then darkened myself, and I did a bunch of mod work to this knife, along with custom tuning the bushings in here and replacing the actual pivots and the different hardware inside of here. So this guy has what is essentially zero play. Like, it is insane how good this knife is. Definitely a weird balance. It's not a bad balance at all. As you can see, it balances right around there, which is pretty good. But it's definitely different than most things. So when you're flipping it, you might have like kind of a weird moment at first where you're like, oh man, how does that work? But it's incredible once you get used to it. All right, next up we have the Max Ace Covenant V1. This is honestly another really good knife. I am a big fan of bearing knives. I think my favorite one that I first got was probably the Scorpius, which I ended up trading. I actually got this from that trade. I really like this guy. It's huge. You know, it's got some of the longest handles on any knife. But they're super good for manipulation. This thing is just like a manipulation king. It's a fantastic knife, and it's something I'd suggest anybody get. I'm sure the V2 is just as good. I haven't gotten to try it yet, but I hope to review it in an upcoming video. So yeah, it should be pretty good. Next up, Max Ace Pelican. I have two Max Ace knives. I'm a big fan of their company. They make fantastic shit. This guy is no exception to that rule. It is a channel bearing Balisong. It is probably one of my favorites that I've ever owned out of any knife I've ever flipped. It's just really perfect in a lot of ways. So it's got tang pins, obviously. The tang pins are pretty solid. I've had a couple problems with them backing out, but you just add some red Loctite to it and screw it in, and it'll work just fine for you. Its channel, it's fantastic. There's grips all over it. It's got freaking carbon fiber inlays in the handles and in the blade, which is super cool. This thing is a no-nonsense knife. I've never had to fuck with the pivots. I've never had to mess with anything on it. I never have to take it apart. Like some of these guys, you have to tune. You have to, you know, mess with the tightnesses and the tolerances, and after you flip it a bunch, it'll like get loose or whatever. This guy doesn't do that. This is a no nonsense knife. You can just flip it forever and never have to worry about there being any play. There is literally zero play in this knife. It's so good. It's amazing. I love it. Love it. Another good one here. This is one that I searched for quite a while. This is a grail for me for sure, is the Home Design Prodigy. I mean, it's just good. It's just, I mean, look at it. Look at this thing. It's just good. It's really good. It's got a beautiful profile. It's got an amazing like blade on it. It's got a perfect kind of balance. It's just good. It's just good. This is my like fancy knife. Like if I'm going to dinner and I wanna feel fancy, I'll bring my fucking Prodigy, because this knife, much like this guy, both of these knives are very no nonsense in the same way. But yeah, I mean, it's just good. It's just good. Look at this. It's just good. The one you've all wanted to hear about, my personal baby out of this whole collection. I mean, I love all of these knives, and there's a reason that I own all of these knives, because they all flip differently and they all have different like things about them. And if you can flip all of these knives, you can flip pretty much anything, is what that's at least what I say. But this guy is very special to me. This is from JK Design. I ordered this from him the second he posted the first picture of the first Emissary. I think it was even, I don't even think it was coming out yet. I think it was a prototype. But he posted that and I immediately hit him up and was like, hey, can I commission you to make me a knife? I want something very specific and I want you to make it for me. Because I saw the Emissary and I was like, that's beautiful. So I commissioned him. He made me a custom knife, which this is the only one that will ever look like this. This is the Emissary number 8. You can do a really sick trick like that with it. But like, it's got this whole pattern to it. I was very specific with what I wanted. It's got just zero play. The tolerances are insane. It runs on bushings. It's amazing. It's a piece of art. And the finish that he did on it also, I think he calls it his apocalyptic finish, and it's just good. It's just beautiful. But yeah, so that's the last one of my current collection. I plan on getting more things and reviewing them in the future. But yeah, we're gonna do more in-depth videos on each of these guys right here, so you can, you know, get that idea. But yeah. That's the collection. Anyways, yeah, that's pretty much my Balisong collection. Those are all my personal knives. I'm gonna be doing in-depth reviews of both those knives and other knives that I get in the future. So go ahead and subscribe to get that content. And then otherwise, yeah, just stay tuned. I'm gonna be doing a lot more stuff in the future. That might have been it, I don't know. Is that a fucking ice cream truck? Holy shit, I think there's an ice cream truck outside. Nope. Great. Fuck. All right. What are we doing?